Hi, everybody. This is Carol from the Society of Thoracic Surgeons. This is the Adult Cardiac User Group call for March 18th. We will get started here. Thank you for joining. I know everybody's in a stressful time right now, so I appreciate you taking time out of your day to jump on a call with us to talk about the transition over to IQVIA and answer any questions that you may have during this user group call. On the line with me, I have Melanie Bent from IQVIA and her team, and from STS, I have Leanne Jones. Excuse me. I hope everybody's staying healthy, and I hope everybody's family is staying healthy during this very trying time. So we'll get started here. The agenda, welcome and introductions. Just again, the call overview is the user group calls are intended for you to work in a community, share your thoughts and ideas with each other. I apologize for my cough. And then the current status update from Melanie, a sport overview, and then hear your feedback and submit your questions using the Q&A function of the box of the platform. If you have any questions that are related to a current case with IQVIA, please include the ticket number or case number that IQVIA sent you. Just a quick update from STS. The March training manual is posted. You should be able to see the bookmarks in using Internet Explorer. I was also able to open the bookmarks in Chrome. On the right-hand side, there's a button there that has a little bookmark you can click on, and the bookmarks will open up for you. So if you're having any trouble with that, just reach out and we can help you with it. And then be sure to download your previous reports from DQRI no later than March 31st. Those reports, the reporting portal will be closing on March 31st, so the sooner you download all of your old reports, the better, just in case you have any issues with access. So again, that portal closes on March 31st. And now I'm going to hand it over to Melanie Bent for the current status update, and I think Melanie's going to share her screen, so we'll give her just a couple seconds here to do that. Melanie?
Thank you, Carol, and hello, everyone. I'll go ahead and share my screen so we can just, I can share a couple of updates that we've done within the platform. Give me one moment. Okay, and if you can just confirm, Carol, that you can see I'm on the uploader screen within the platform.
Yep, I can see your screen just fine, Melanie. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. All right, so what we wanted to do is just, and some of you may have seen this already, if you were recently in the platform, where we've updated the DQR to include some new information. So I'll just go ahead and navigate to this first entry here. I just went ahead and I did an upload. And on the DQR, we've gotten a lot of feedback from you all in regards to being able to have additional information. And again, we're still working through additional enhancements. So I wanted to go ahead and show you that we were able to include a new column, which is the short name column, down at the bottom portion. So here you're able to do your sorting for that actual variable. Another thing that has been asked for and we're reviewing and we'll see if we can get incorporated is being able to just have the message display within this section. Right now we do display the record ID and patient ID within that message, and that's primarily because if you were to encounter a critical error, those records actually do not save to the database, so there's no way to provide an actual reference ID for you. So with having that information within the message, that can at least give you a way to trace back to the patient record. So that's currently how it is, but we're looking at additional improvements. So just wanted to let you know that we hear you and we want to make sure that we're able to see how we can accommodate. For now, we have implemented the new column for the short name. Another thing that I wanted to point out is that the patient ID is going to be listed within the alerts by uploaded records. You will have that information listed here. And another thing that we're trying to do is also add that additional column for the record ID. So that's coming, and just wanted to let you know that that was updated. So those are the main changes that happened recently. These changes were implemented over the weekend. We had a weekend update, so those were specifically involved with that last update. Okay. So, Carol, if we can go back to the presentation, I think the other items, it's really just talking about what's coming up next. Items that have been reported in regards to the STS IDs that some of you may have that were provided to you by support. We are going through those items and we're looking at implementing those fixes. Right now, those are currently under review and we're going to fix based on severity level. So just know that it's coming at this moment. We have been focused on getting the reports that are needed for the MIPS deadline. So really a lot of our initiative and focus has been making sure that we're able to get the reports available for review for the surgeons and STS that are related to the MIPS submission, since that has a hard deadline of March the 31st. So that's right around the corner. And we do have to make sure that we get that information submitted to CMS. So that's what's in progress at the moment. The other thing that is currently underway, of course, is the bidirectional interface that we will have with DCRI. Once we have that established, the data that has been collected for the harvest will be submitted to DCRI for analysis, and they will be taking that data and performing the analysis on that. Once they've completed that, they will be sending that information back to us, and we will have those results available in new dashboards. So you will see additional reports that will be coming online where you're able to see the results of the harvest that closed. So just know that that's underway, and that is something else that we will be implementing. Another thing that has recently has happened is that we've been meeting with core members, with data managers, to get further feedback on additional enhancements that are related to the data quality report, also related to the missing variable report. And then of course the current dashboard and future dashboard. So we're getting feedback to be able to look at how can we enhance the current reports, and of course how do we make sure that the new reports that we will deliver are what's expected. So that is also items that we are currently in talks and reviewing with STS. Let me see if there's anything else that I needed to review. Carol, I think those were the top items that I had. Was there anything else that maybe I'm missing that I need to review?
No, I think that was everything. That short name feature is going to be really nice, help with sorting. So I'm glad that that was implemented over the weekend. I think that will be helpful for the data site, for the data managers. But I think you covered everything that we had talked about. The meetings with the core group members, the core group data managers that we had come over to the STS office in Chicago, and we met with them and went through what's in the reports now, the national quarterly reports now, to help us come up with a plan to develop the reporting dashboard, which will be separate than your uploader dashboard. And we'll be educating more on that as that's getting built out. We'll be educating more on that, on how to use that and use it for reporting at your site. So more to come with that. I think that was pretty much it on it. I was just going to go over the IQVIA support plan, which you've seen. Be sure to call or email to get your ticket started with IQVIA. And they've been their customer service has been evolving to the needs of our community, which has been really fantastic for us to see that they're able to adapt to our needs. And we have the tier 1 support, of course, and then we go to tier 2, which either will be escalated at IQVIA or STS, and then STS, if it's something we can answer, we'll answer, or if it's an analysis question that DCRI needs to provide insight on, we would work with DCRI to get that answer for you. And then just, again, the resources, your database webpage, that STS Tech supported IQVIA, And then the National Database Feedback Form, not for questions specific to any current harvest question, but just a feedback form, not just, but a feedback form for you to provide us with things that you like or things that you don't like or ideas for improving. And we've seen a lot of great ideas come in through there. So as we get more settled with the different dashboards that are coming out and our bidirectional data flow between IQVIA and DCRI, further down throughout the year, we'll be able to start implementing some improvements. We take everything back to STS leadership and discuss it between STS and IQVIA and kind of prioritize changes or updates as we move forward. So we are doing that. We're doing that internally, but your feedback is very helpful in those types of decisions. And then we're going to take some time here to answer some questions. Please use the Q&A function. And if you're submitting a question that's related to a specific issue that has been reported to IQVIA, please be sure to include your ticket number or your STS number. Anything else to add, Melanie? Oh, I know one more thing. Mm-hmm. The next webinars that are coming up, we have March 26th is the version 4.20 webinar. We'll pick up where we left off last time at the end of February. And then on April 1st, we have the monthly webinar. And because of the transition to IQVIA, the harvest has already closed for Harvest 1. We're kind of in limbo waiting for reports and submitting data and all of this. We're going to take that time to go through the procedure identification chart. And so it won't be much of an update from things that are going on with IQVIA. There might be a little something, but the main focus of the webinar will be on the procedure identification chart, the risk model variables, and anything else related to your tool, the tools that STS helps provides to you on the Data Manager resource page. So I just want to give an update about that. So you're aware that the April 1st webinar, if you are able to join, we'll be walking through the procedure identification chart, and I'll be answering questions as it relates to that feature. I'm going to go ahead and start answering or reading some questions, and Melanie, probably some of these are going to be for you, so I hope you're ready. The first one is, I still have not been able to upload one patient from quarter 4 2019, and then later on she provided her ticket number as STS 2041. I have not heard back from anyone. Is someone still working on this?
Okay, we would have to take a look and see exactly what's happening, and it's not that the entire file, it sounds like it's not the entire file, it's just one patient within that file that seems to be an issue. Hopefully right. That's correct. Okay, we'll take a look and see 2041.
Yep, thank you. Next question, where is the training manual located? I can't find it in the version 4.20, only the DCF. So version 4.20, which goes live on July 1st, the training manual is being completed as we speak. Melinda and the core group are working daily on this to make sure it's updated. Melinda and I have had calls weekly to go through some of the sections as she's getting feedback from the core group. So I'm anticipating that training manual will probably be up in April or May sometime. We usually try to have it up a month before the version goes live. So no later than June, but aiming for the end of April, beginning of May to have that posted for 4.20. Next question, when do you anticipate that reports will be available to run off of published data results? So I think you're speaking about the national report, the quarterly national report, and that's related to the bidirectional data exchange with DCRI. Anticipate those reports usually come out in April because this is going to be a new process for everyone. We will keep you updated with that timeline. Most likely it'll be sometime in May, but we'll be able to provide you more detail as we get closer and continue to work between IQVIA and DCRI to establish that bidirectional data flow and receive that, then analyze data back from DCRI into IQVIA and display that in the reporting dashboard. Melanie, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope, you covered it. That's it.
Okay. All right. Please make separating out the record ID in reports a priority. We need it easily accessed so that we can do a join. So we can join between identified and de-identified files.
Understood, Cindy. Yep, we have that on the list. It's up high on the list because we do hear about that one.
Thank you. The record ID will be coming.
Yes.
Thank you. I never received information to create an IQVIA account for my facility. So Angela, if you could please reach out to stsdb@sts.org. We'll have put that email into the chat box here. If you haven't received your login information for IQVIA, we'll need to check your how you're listed for your PID and make sure we can get that information sent over to you. When will the data submission for the next harvest window open? I know the deadline is 5/22, but when will the window open? So the window the window only closed shortly for about a brief half hour or hour after the harvest closed on February 28th. So it's open now. You can go ahead and submit for that deadline now. Next question. Email response from IQVIA is that they are closing the ticket number without asking if their response answered our questions or concerns. So do you have Barbara, if you could send in your specific ticket number, then maybe we can check into
review.
that.
Yes, because we would need to see, because I wonder if that's an instance where it was escalated maybe to the next tier and it generated that auto message. I saw the message from Jennifer. Is it Jennifer Boyce? I thought I saw. Jennifer,
Oh, yeah.
if you can tell me your participant ID, I just want to make sure that I have that correct information. If you can just put that in the Q&A, your participant ID. Okay. And I do see also in regards to the STS 2041, Jennifer, that is showing as open. So it's still in progress.
Great, thank you. Next question. We have access to multiple sites of ACSD and wondering if data can be aggregated for all sites and displayed by sites in one screen for each of the metrics. So this, I think this sounds like an umbrella report to me. We do not have corporate accounts at this time, but this sounds like an umbrella report to me. And if you'd like to reach out, I would email the stsdb@sts.org if that's something that you're interested in. Because they can combine the data from multiple sites into one PID. So reach out and hopefully that's something we can help you establish. I just want to confirm that if we have an old case that needs to be corrected and resubmitted to IQVIA, that we can upload just that one file, or do we need to resubmit a time range? So you would need to resubmit a time range. Is that right, Melanie?
That is correct.
Yeah. So not just one file, but a specific time range. It could be a day or it could be a week, but it has to be a time range. Are we able to upload January 2020 data now, or do we need to wait? Nope, you're free to go ahead and upload that data now. Any idea if Harvest 2 or version 4.2 will be pushed back with the current coronavirus pandemic? We are currently working at home, but may be asked to do patient care if our numbers spike or we get overflow patients from Minneapolis. So we are, it's too early to make a decision on that. We just have to see how things are playing out, and it is something that we are evaluating. So we're keeping our eye on it, and we will communicate if any changes come out. And there's Jennifer's PID number.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At last check, DQR recipients do not have at least read access to the upload view status, as that helps in correction by record ID rather than the missing value report.
It did not have read access. So Okay, we would need to look into this. So basically, it looks like he may be a report viewer, and he's saying he does not have access to the uploader, the data quality report. Hold on. I think that's what he's saying, that he does not have access to the data quality report.
I'm not really sure what he's saying.
I'm not really clear. Sorry, Ron. I guess Ron, if you can just clarify, are you saying that you do not have access to the data quality report?
Yeah, clarify what your role is. I guess if you could clarify what your role is in the Q&A and what you're looking for access to, maybe your role may need to change within for your site, and we can help clarify that if you could provide that information. We'll go with that.
Okay.
I missed the answer to the training manual question. Where is it located for 4.20? The training manual for 4.20 is not up yet. It will be up sometime prior to June. Next question. So for the next harvest, we can submit 2019 cases to March 20th, correct? To March 2020.
March 2020.
Yep. That's right. So it will be data through the end of March 2020 for the harvest 2. The harvest, let me see if I can show you where that information is at. Hold on one second. I think we have time here to do this, so I'm gonna take advantage of the time we have. That's okay. So in the registries and research page under the STS National Database, can you see my screen, Melanie? Is it coming through?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. This is the STS National Database page. And if you scroll down here, you'll find the harvest schedule and information under important resources. And here's the harvest schedule. So you'll see that it's a continuous harvest for adult cardiac. It does not close. The only time it's down just for a little bit is when they have to, at the end of the harvest. So probably on May 22nd around midnight Eastern time, it might be closed for a little bit, maybe half hour or an hour, just so they can do a little updating on the IQVIA side. But essentially it's open continuous. And this is when the harvest window ends. This is your opt-out date. So if you decide that you want to opt out of that harvest for analysis, this is the date you need to fill that form out. It can be found on the IQVIA website under resources. And then the data that's included in the harvest is this last date here. So the harvest 1 was data through 12/31. Harvest 2, which is the harvest we're in now, will be data through March 31st. Harvest 3, June 30th, and harvest 4, September 30th. And this is an estimate of when the reports will come out. These will be updated as this is when the reporting dashboard will be available. And these are estimates, and we'll update this as we get closer and see how things are moving along with the bidirectional data flow between IQVIA and DCRI. So I hope that was helpful. If not, please submit another question on there. It has been told that we can enter just that one patient if there are changes. When did this change to a time frame? So you should enter, you shouldn't be able to abstract just the one case from your vendor software. It should be set to just a time frame, even if it's 1 day, that would be fine. How do I make sure I'm on the mailing list for the upcoming webinars? So the mailing list is being sent, the emails are being sent out to the primary and backup data contacts. If you are not receiving it and you are not listed in one of those contacts, then that's why you're not receiving it. If you are receiving the emails about the webinars, or if you are not receiving the emails about the webinars, but you are listed in either of those roles, please reach out to the STSDB@sts.org, and we can check on your status in our platform, and then make sure that we have sent you those emails, and check on what happened with those emails that were sent. If they got blocked somewhere along the line, we can help with that. Can you please explain the question regarding making the record ID a priority? join between identified and de-identified files. So some sites pull down, some sites do additional looking at their files, and they compare those to another de-identified file set using the record ID. That also helps, though, when you're identifying patients at your facility in your vendor software using that record ID. So that's why it's something that we would want to be able to make available for sites.
And just to add to that, so when you're exporting those results to Excel or to a table, being able to have that split out separately just makes the sorting easier also. So right now, the record ID is sitting inside of the actual message that's displayed. So there's no way to basically take that out. So having a separate column will allow that functionality.
Thanks. Next question. I understand we can submit files multiple times at different times. Does it have to be in chronological order when submitting files, like from earliest case to most recent?
No, that doesn't. You can submit in any order that you would like.
Great, thank you. Next question. Please clarify the previous question asked about the one old case that is corrected and resubmitted. Previous to the last harvest, we were told that we could just upload that one record. So it should be a time frame. I think we thought that that would be okay to upload one record, but it actually needs to be a time frame. I don't believe your vendor software allows you to upload just download one record. You have to set a date time frame.
An actual time frame. Yep.
Yeah,
and many of the vendors came back and basically clarified that to make sure that that was what was being communicated, to say that they are not allowed. It's an actual reporting time frame that is allowed within their system. If on that reporting time frame, let's just say you did it for one day and you only had the one case, well, that would allow you to be able to do that. But they did clarify with us to say it's a time frame that should be entered within their systems.
Great, thank you. The reporting schedule shows all reporting periods starting, it shows all reporting periods starting January 1st. Isn't each reporting period a full rolling 3 years? So what that reporting period was showing was what was available on your PDF reports from DQRI. That will be updated since we no longer have those PDF reports. It will be, we'll just have the end time frame for each harvest on there. Previously in your report, you had 3 columns. One with, we had 3 columns with each year. So for 2019, you had a column for 2019, a column for 2018, and a column for 2017. So everything in that report always started with January 1st, 2017. And then the last date in that report reflected the current harvest, end of the current harvest date. Next question. Data managers and backup managers have access to upload and view the status, but DQR recipient roles do not even have access to the critical errors and warnings reports to check and correct data. So your backup data managers are able to upload files. DQR recipients in the past were not able to upload files. At least that wasn't what their role was. Anybody could have uploaded a file, but you wouldn't have seen that you wouldn't have seen that on the DCRI portal because it was a general login. So if you are looking to receive information on the uploader, then you need to have uploader access, which means you need to be listed as a backup or a primary data manager. And to do that, you would need to update your role with STS through the participant contact form. And maybe Leanne, if you're available, would you be able to put the participant contact form link in the chat box?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get that added.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Did you indicate that email reminders are sent out for these webinars? Yes, an email reminder was sent out yesterday for this webinar. So if you did not receive it and you are listed as a backup or primary data contact, please reach out to stsdb@sts.org, and we can check that. Also, check your spam folder before you reach out just to make sure it's not in there, because a lot of them do go to spam. submitting one record is possible, and I did that successfully in the last harvest. My software allows you to create a harvest file that consists of one record. If you demand a date range, that may include more records than you want. I think we'll have to look into that because we were told that should not be allowed to happen in the vendor software, but we can check into that further, Melanie.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. And I think the other thing, because I see another statement in regards to the vendor software, not all vendors allow that functionality. So I think that there's a mix based on what we're seeing, in which some vendors allow that to happen where you can download one patient, but we've also gotten feedback from others stating that they do not have that option. So it does vary.
Great, thank you. And I think the reason why we weren't able to do that with a DCRI in the past, or why it shouldn't have been allowed with DCRI in the past, is because DCRI was using that file that you sent in to match it to the file, to the records that they had in their system already. So if a record was missing from that date range, that is how they knew to remove it from analysis. So submitting just one record wouldn't allow that function to happen. And I think we'll provide more clarity on that, but for the time being, it should be a specific date range that you're submitting to IQVIA. I think the reason, there was a reason for doing that, and we'll have to check back with the IT. I think Dave Zener from IQVIA is the one who had mentioned that we should allow that to happen. We should allow only for a date range to be entered. Any updates on when we would be able to enter the cases into IQVIA directly? So that should be coming with the July update. You'll have direct data entry with, or if you opt in to have direct data entry with IQVIA, it would be available on July 1st. It's still unclear what the national report is going to look like and where it will be posted. So the national report the PDF report is being transitioned over to dashboard reporting, and it will be available on your platform where you log in. You'll see a link there that, similar to where it says dashboard, you'll see a link there that I believe it'll say something like, I don't know that we've decided on a name, but it would identify that that's where your analyzed data is held. And IQVIA is still building it. Melanie, you have anything you'd like to add on that?
No, that's basically it.
Okay. So next question. When comparing the DAT file that was submitted to DCRI previously and to the case form in IQVIA, the case form is yielding blank fields for most data elements. However, it is not showing in missing variables. I wonder if this is a migration issue from DCRI to IQVIA. The report list from dashboard does identify cases where repair or replacement, but when I open the case form, the respective data fields for repair replacement is blank. So I ask whoever submitted this is anonymous, please submit this into IQVIA so they can check into this for you, yes, and issue you a ticket number.
Yes, definitely do that, because we need to look at the specific examples.
Thanks. Where do we find the contact list now? We used to have access to it on the Duke site. So it will be available on the IQVIA site. It just is not available yet. So if you need to get access to your contact list, please email stsdb@sts.org, and we'll be able to look into that for you. Include your PID number, please. If we opt in for direct input into IQVIA, is there a fee? No, there will be no fee for direct data entry into IQVIA. You would still have your database fees, but there would be no associated vendor fees. So you would still have your fees to participate in the database, which is paid every year, but there would be no vendor fee. I want to clarify, if we opt into direct data entry into IQVIA, we will not access the same reporting capabilities that we currently have with our vendor. So it would be, you would no longer have your vendor, it would be direct data into, you would enter that case right into the IQVIA platform. It would be like a DCF right on the IQVIA portal. It would do the edits and checks and clean it up as you're entering the case in. So there would be no more DQR. There would be, I'm sure, I think, Melanie, correct me if I'm wrong, but still a missing variable report.
Correct, still missing variable. And just going directly to what they're saying too, that they would not have access to the same reporting capabilities. That is correct. At this moment in time, you would have differences in regards to what's being offered within your current software package. So that is something in regards to consideration at that time, because there are different reports that we understand are available that could be custom for you. Those types of reports would not be something that would be transferred over into the IQVIA system. So please keep that in mind.
Great, thank you. Okay. That looks like every question. We have 20 minutes left. Does anybody have any other questions? Will the IQVIA platform allow us to create extra questions? So STS and IQVIA are still in discussion about building out the IQVIA platform for direct data entry, and I think it's still in discussion, and we will be we'll be able to get out more information as we finalize those talks between IQVIA and the STS leadership. Did I get that right, Melanie?
Yes, you got that right.
Okay. Can you show us the functionality at IQVIA in which you can isolate certain data elements, including fallouts or captured complications?
Functionality to isolate, I'm not sure in regards to specifically what they're asking.
I think this is probably in the dashboard where you would want to, it's in the raw, your uploader dashboard, where you would be able to see the variables for the adult cardiac versions, and then you could, the fallouts, I'm not sure, I think you're referring to the NQF measures or things that, like the mortality thresholds and things like that, and we had talked about it in the previous webinar. I think you would have to look at the 3 separate variables right now, and IQVIA is building, is that right, Melanie? Are we working on building a mortality?
The summary?
Yeah.
The summary, yes. Yes, that's also one of the reports that we're in discussions about.
Yeah. So that will be located on your dashboard in the uploader, on the uploader side. The missing data report is helpful. The consistency checks are difficult to identify. Can they be separated? So Melanie had mentioned earlier that they had added in the short name to the consistency checks, and I think we're looking at adding in the record ID.
Yes, add in the record ID to be able to have additional filtering. And then, of course, another ask was, is there any way to even remove, to remove that information from the message, because that does hinder. But what I had stated earlier is that if you encounter a critical record, we need a way for you to be able to identify the record ID and patient ID on those critical records, since they didn't save to the database. So what we're going to enhance the report with is to separate the record ID so that it has its own column also. Great,
thank you. Sorry, I missed the answer to where to find the contact list. Could you repeat? So please email stsdb@sts.org to obtain your contact list until it is available on the IQVIA platform, and we will keep you updated on that. For the extra patient file that needs to be submitted from prior harvest time frame, what date frame do we use? 1 week, month, or question mark? I guess you could just use the 1 day, and I can't remember the reason why. Melanie, do you remember the reason why we have to use a time frame on this? If their vendors are allowing them to download one record, it looks like it was able to be downloaded by record.
Let me see. I just remembered that there was a vendor that indicated that they did not allow a specific patient. But for an extra patient file that needs to be submitted from prior harvest, what time frame do we use? 1 week, 1 month? It would be, if you're trying to add that additional patient file, it's whatever date range that patient would fall into. So you would be able to do, if you know the specific day where the patient falls into, you could use the day so that you can narrow the search. Does that help? Does that sound okay?
That sounds good, thank you.
Especially if you know, yeah, especially in this instance, you know the patient, and you would just go ahead and just use that date for that patient.
Okay, next question. Will the new IQVIA data entry platform eventually have extract capabilities that we are used to with some of the ACC and CDR direct entry registries? So I think we are still working out all of the capabilities of that platform with IQVIA, between IQVIA and STS leadership. And I know that you will be able to download your data, right, Melanie? I mean, that's something that we have to allow for, but I don't know of everything that will be available just yet. We will have more information as we get closer.
Right, that is also an item that's in discussion, and that's it's a report that we call the data download report. So that would be something that would be that we're looking at having in the future.
Great, thank you. When is direct data entry going live? So the tentative, hopefully, absolute date is July 1st of this year. We will let you know as we get closer and as things are changing. We will let everybody know for sure what those dates are. Is it possible to get the name of the file uploaded in the DQR report addition to the upload ID number? This will help with the continuity between the upload operation and reviewing the upload process results.
Let's see. We could go ahead and look at that as an enhancement. Right now, yeah, once you, of course, navigate to the page, it doesn't give you that information there, but that we can consider as an enhancement.
Great, thank you. Okay, and I don't know if you're able to share your screen or not. Somebody's asking to see the dashboard.
Yeah, let me see if I'm still logged in and I could navigate. Just double check. Logged me out. Just give me one moment.
Great, thank you. Also confirming that you can upload one record to IQVIA at a time. It does not need to be a time frame or records. I think we need to just verify that with IQVIA as to if you submit, I think because now we have the duplicate records ability to remove records via a manual process. I think it may be different now, but we will, Melanie is pretty, it seems like we should not be allowing just one record into IQVIA, so we probably will need to educate further on that. Yeah, we can confirm and we'll educate on our next webinar.
Okay, and Carol, I can go ahead and share. Oh,
sure.
Sorry.
That's right, on the April 1st webinar, we'll confirm. March 26th is safe for the version upgrade.
Okay, give me one moment.
Sure.
All right, you should be able to see my screen.
Yes.
All right, so once you're logged in, you want to navigate to the menu option that's called Operational Reports. Once you select Operational Reports, you'll see a listing here. Missing variable is first, and then you'll see the ACSD participant dashboard. Just make sure you select this little caret icon, that's what I call it, and that will extend the menu where you can select the hyperlink, and this is where you would enter in your time period and then the procedures for the dashboard.
Great, thanks, Melanie.
You're
I think
welcome.
we've reviewed this a couple times on previous webinars. So if you are looking for more information on this, and also there is a, I'm going to take the screen over if that's okay.
Okay. Yep, I stopped.
Okay, and I'll show you this. There is also on the STS website, oopsie, education that we've posted as requested under the STS National Database. And if you scroll down here to the IQVIA transition, the database transition resource, there's an ACSD dashboard overview here, but this is a walkthrough, and then there's also a video under the view video link, the ACSD dashboard overview. So please review those, and hopefully that will be helpful in navigating the dashboard, the uploader dashboard for you. Okay, let me get out of this screen. We came in late. When would we be needing to start entering into IQVIA? Are we supposed to be testing at this point? I'm not quite sure what your question is, Anonymous, so if you could please clarify in the Q&A, I'd be happy to answer that for you. Thank you. Next question. From the AC version 2.9 software specification document page, data export for harvest to the data warehouse. One of the key reasons for having a certified vendor must be allowed users to export their data for submission to the STS following the rules. The user must be able to specify the records to be exported for harvest by using range limits for the surgery date. That's what, yeah, that's what we have been communicating out, that it needs to be a surgery date. I'm not sure where the one record is, how that's being allowed by the vendors. So we'll have to look into that further and provide some clarity on the April 1st webinar. Thank you for providing that, Carmen. Next question, can we have detailed education with demo on how to make reports from the dashboard? And yes, as soon as that function is available, we will be providing education on those. And hopefully we can provide some, not only education on the webinars, but maybe we would be able to have some recorded webinar or recorded webinars that we do for the other dashboard that will be able to be a walkthrough for folks. And we can work with IQVIA, Melanie, we can work together on if that's a feasible option, or if we just are going to do live webinars. Either way is
definitely
okay. Next question. I have successfully exported and submitted a single day. Sometimes this includes only one patient, sometimes more. Yep, the day time frame should be okay. It's the single patient that is questionable, so we'll provide more clarity on the April 1st webinar. I didn't think that a certain vendor allowed it, but in our harvest file menu, you can enter a date range or a medical record number to create a harvest file. So yeah, we'll have to provide clarity on this, and definitely it sounds like we have some discrepancies in between what STS is expecting, what DCRI laid out as the rules when they built the software specifications, which is what IQVIA is using and following. So we just have to clarify and make sure everybody's on the same page with what the expectations are for that. And if there's a reason now, we have to just discuss it internally and then educate everybody so we're all consistent. All right. I got to the end of the question, so if you have any others, please submit them. We have about 9 minutes left, and if I don't get another answer or question in the next minute or so, we could probably end early. Oh, is the created date in the case form the date when the file was uploaded and or migrated? That sounds like that's for you, Melanie.
Yes, and I'm actually, since I'm in the application, I want to say yes, but I'm able to just look.
Jeanette's here. So that'll be the first time that we either received the submission or migrated that record ID.
Thanks, Jeanette.
Yep.
Okay. No open questions. Oh.
As soon as you say that, like, oh, nope.
Could you clarify the process if you have to delete a case from an IQVIA submission?
You will have to contact our support team, so contact IQVIA support, and you will have to submit that request in writing so that we know specifically the record that you're requesting for us to delete, and then we can go ahead and do that, and you'll receive confirmation once that's done.
And we request that you provide the patient ID and the record ID in that request, along with your participant ID, of course.
Give all the IDs that you have.
All the IDs.
So we don't make a mistake. Thank you. Next question. What will happen when all people need to stay home? So you will need to work with your hospital system or whomever you're abstracting for. Perhaps they will help you be able to work remotely from home or provide other resources so you can still abstract. And I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow, so we all just have to kind of make decisions with the best information that we have and go from there. So we will continuously assess the situation and try to be as helpful as possible during these uncertain times. Next question. Go back and listen to your webinars. You all said multiple times, thank you, Kelly, for pointing this out, that you could correct one record and upload it. And as I said, we need to go back and verify that. So I appreciate you you bringing this to our attention. I'm happy to provide an update on April 1st.
And it was because of those webinars, just to clarify, it was because of those webinars, we also had gotten the feedback from some vendors in regards to that, and that's why we had to restate because of the guidance that was given in the software spec. So we'll get that all straightened out, but we'll make sure to provide updated guidance on that.
Great, thank you. Okay, it would be nice if the created date is updated when we updated changes to the record. So that wouldn't be a created date, that's an updated date. Is there a way to see the date, a date that a record received an update, Jeanette or Melanie?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Say that one more time, sorry.
Sure, is there a way to see a date when a record is updated? I know the created date is the date the record is created, but is there, or a file is created, is there a way to see?
That's a good feedback point. We'll look at seeing whether we can add that to the view when you click on like the DCF equivalent, when you click on it from one of the reports.
Great, thank you. And then there's a question regarding if a site did submit the one record instead of a time frame, what happened to their record? It was still corrected, but there's a reason. The reason why we had to do a date range with DCRI is because of they used that date range that if a file was included in one submission during a date range, and then another file came in and it had a record excluded from within that same time frame, that's how they identified the records that would not be included in analysis. They would remove that record. So that's why those instructions were there. Because that's written in the software specs, we need to evaluate that because we have been telling vendors to do something one way. It appears vendors are not doing what was, or they have allowed things to maybe change with the record, allowing a record submission instead of a date range. So we need to go back and we'll provide clarity on that. I believe, and Jeanette or Melanie, you can step in here, but when a site, if they did just update one record, then that record was updated in the IQVIA system. It didn't affect the same way that the date range, it's not used the same way that the date range was used at DCRI to look for discrepancies between what was in one file coming in and what was
Correct.
already in the warehouse.
That
So
is
that
correct.
file should still be updated and your data is safe. It's just that we have an inconsistency in what we're telling vendors to do, what some vendors are allowing to happen, and we need to be consistent, and we need to communicate out consistently to the sites what's expected. So, and that's where that clarity will come in on April 1st. Okay, 3 minutes left and one more question. Glace, I appreciate the recorded webinars because sometimes there's a schedule conflict, so thank you all. Well, thank you. On that note, I think we're going to end it because that's a positive comment, and I like to end things positively. So I appreciate everybody for joining. I know we're all under stressful times. Please take care of yourself and your loved ones and stay healthy. Wash your hands, follow the guidelines, and if there's any way that we can help, please reach out to us. I really do. Melanie and Jeanette and Leanne, thank you all for joining and being on this webinar with me today.
Thank you.
I hope everybody stays healthy. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Stay
Thanks,
healthy.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.